a copy of, about the carbon bubble.
Yes.
Could you please explain that so that it's understandable?
Okay. I'm going to repeat questions on the theory that not everybody hears them as well as I do up front, but the question was about, and I should say, Daphne Taylor and I have known each other for how long, my dear? Well, we're practically in kindergarten together. We've known each other 40 years. So anyway, the carbon bubble was the question. What is it? How do I explain it? Starts with, basically, I would start with the International Energy Agency has something called World Energy Outlook that they publish every year. And in the World Energy Outlook of fall 2012, which was the last one, they said something really very important. I mean, this is the body that essentially tracks supply and proven reserves of oil and gas. It's basically pretty conservative, small c conservative. It's not an environmental agency, at least in its origins. It's all about where are we going to get energy, where are the proven reserves, is there enough, how long will it last? And in their last report, the International Energy Agency said this: there's proven fossil fuel reserves, and there's more than we thought there was because we're fracking for oil in the US, so there's new, opened, expanded areas for oil and gas, fracked Bakken field, remember, there's oil, there's gas, there's all kinds of reserves. But they said this: of the known reserves, given the climate crisis, we must not use more than 1/3 of what we know is there before the year 2050. Because it's critical that we avoid a loading of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere that allow us to hit 2 degrees Celsius. Now, a group of financial analysts in Europe, mostly in the UK, looked at this and said, well, there's a carbon bubble. Because if there are known reserves, and the reserves and the ownership of them, proprietary interest in them of, say, Exxon or BP, their share value is attached to their control of known reserves. But if they've got reserves upon which their value is assessed in the marketplace, but they are reserves that can't be used, then that represents a carbon bubble. That when we move to other sources of energy and we avoid using that now this presumes that the world will listen to the World Energy Agency and not use 2/3 of what remains until after 2050 and use it in a staged way so that we avoid going into runaway global warming. But that's the theory of the carbon bubble, is that as we move away from fossil fuels, as we must, the share value, and unfortunately pension funds that are based on the share value, a lot of teachers unions and so on and hospitals are invested in fossil fuel investments where the share value and therefore the dividends for things that we want like pensions are predicated on being able to use the reserves they've got. So that's the carbon bubble.